check out the Friday podcast. Friday vibes.
I liked it. I didn't love it.
Trey.
Sounds like a stand-up dude.
Oh my God.
Hopefully you're watching the Friday podcast. Guys, we raw uncut up in here. Oh, shining fire.
Stop it. Dumbass.
How am I posing? But I'm getting really heated and heated. That's what it's all about. We want everybody to go out and just live for your Friday. It's Friday!
All right, guys, we are back with our season finale episode of the Friday podcast.
Yeah.
And guys, I know you guys are wondering who this is sitting to my right, and this is Miss Raven. She is going to be our very first Friday friend. We're introducing a new segment, guys, which we talked to you guys about. So we are super duper excited, and she's just not here for show. She actually listens to the podcast. Okay?
Yes, I did.
Yes. So we just want to check in with everybody, man. How's everybody feeling? Everybody's feeling good?
Feeling good.
Feeling
great.
Feeling great.
I'm with
Trey
it.
has his title.
Feeling
Trey
good.
finally brought the title, guys. Y'all know I've been telling him, why don't you just wear it, bring it?
Been
and now
waiting
he
for
finally got
the
it.
finale special. Okay.
If you want, I'll tell you his address. Don't worry about it.
Trey Champion, feeling good, baby.
Guys, so we want to start this season finale off with our friend Raven. And also we want to shout out Miss Angel Rich, who is actually on this episode. You're going to see her interview a little bit later. But shout out to Miss Angel Rich for doing this, the interview with us. Black Tech Matters. I mean, she is everywhere, guys, and we just want to show her love and support. So, right?
Next, Tony Stark.
All right, Miss Angel Rich. So good to have you on the Friday podcast. We are just so excited about this.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. Let me know before. Are we live?
We are live.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
Well, I am Rico. We can introduce ourselves so you know who you're talking to.
All right.
Trey.
I'm Cameron. So I'm Ian.
I am Deontay, and look who just popped in.
And just popped in.
Sorry. Technology is
Jeez.
crazy.
And that is Parent Angel.
Hello.
So we just want to just jump right in and get started. First of all, just thanking you for doing this. I know that you are such a busy woman.
Facts.
I know we were communicating. You just said that your internship program got extended. Talk to us a little bit about that. And I mean, it's so much that you have going on, but let's hear about this internship program.
Yes, we had 427 interns this summer. It was definitely a interesting experience. They just ended this past Friday. And I found out today that we became one of the top 30 service providers in DC. So it was worth the whole thing. That's not an easy accomplishment in DC with so many nonprofits and so many organizations trying to focus on the youth. As you know, many nonprofits are headquartered here in DC. So to get through that whole process with Department of Employee Services and be recognized with a grant, receive a 5 out of 5 for working with the interns, and receive so many great reports. It was really a good experience.
That is awesome. Deontay, I know he had a couple of questions he wanted to ask you because I kind of can overtake everybody. So I'm gonna let them go ahead and ask you a couple questions.
For sure, yeah. I'll ask a question. If anyone after me has a question or whatever, you guys can just jump in. So like, I've kind of like heard about you for a while. I feel like it's like a legend or whatever. Like, you know, because I'm from here. It's like I'm from here too. So I'm from Newport News, and then it's like someone from HU doing all these big things. I'm like, That's crazy. Like it's like I have friends that went there and they're like, yeah, you say talk, meet this person because I had a STEM program which I did with that. So I thought it was just so dope that you deal with technology or whatever. As far as like there's so much stuff that you do. So it's just crazy. But one of the questions I had was what was your thought process and like what inspired you to back in like 2010 or 2011, I was reading a Forbes article and it said you came up with the first African American financial experience study. So what kind of like inspired you to do that? Because I know they said now like you're kind of like it's the standard as far as like financial literacy for the service industry, especially for like African American and blacks. So what really inspires you to do that and be like the first person to make that benchmark?
You just really touched my heart with that. Thank you, first of all. I don't take much time to reflect on myself. I try to just keep going, but the way you just put that together, I like that. Thank you. Also, shout out to Bad News. I used to live in Bridgeport Apartments on Nasman Drive. So, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm definitely familiar. What made me do the African American study? Honestly, that was my life goal and work. I didn't expect to get that study done until I was 60. I've been dreaming of doing that study since I was a young kid. The day that we launched the study, I was 24 years old. And the morning that we launched it, I don't think I've ever said this publicly, but y'all finding out now I ain't there no more. I sent a letter. They didn't know they about to find out now. I sent a letter to the CEO of the company the morning that the study launched. And I told him how I dreamed of doing this study since I was 6 years old and that I was now 24 years old and that I could not believe that 18 years later that, first of all, that nobody still had not done the study. And secondly, that I ended up being the person to accomplish it and I just thanked him for even providing the path to allow it to happen because no financial services company had ever approved a study like that to focus on the Black community.
Right.
And where it came from for me is my whole family sells life insurance. So, just being a kid, you want to play on the weekends. But we didn't get to play on the weekends. We had to go to my mother's client houses so she could help them manage their bills.
Wow.
And I was like, why these people can't manage their own money? so it just always, that question was just always in the back of my mind, like since I was a young child. And everything I've done, every class I've taken, every paper I've written, I could pull out. One day I'm going to drop a book because people think I'm playing. I've saved every paper that I've written. Okay. And so one day I'm going to just drop all the essays. Okay. So everything that I talk about are things that I've been researching and studying my whole life. Like I didn't just wake up and say I wanted to do this. So it was seriously an intended goal of mine. And then once I did it at 24, I was like, okay, what's next? And then I quit my job and started my company.
Yes. Your story is so inspiring, Angel. It's like even thinking about applying the technique just that you use to get yourself out there with our podcast is like reaching out to whoever and just like you, for example, we didn't think we were like Angel Rich. Deontay is like, hey, we should reach out to Angel Rich. Let's get her on. I'm like, she's never gonna do this, but it does. You just take a leap of faith and you just walk out and you take that step. And so that is just such an inspiring story.
Well, I appreciate y'all reaching out to me, and I'm not gonna say low key. I low key, high key love podcasts, and I love when people are getting it started. I'm about to start my own. That's why I got the mics and all this stuff here. It's a lot of work that has to go into it.
Yes.
So I can provide any type of shine from the platform that I have. I like that. And y'all caught me while I don't have a manager right now. I purposely don't have a manager right now because I want to be free. So when I have a manager, you're right. The email wouldn't even have got to me. And
Okay.
so, but right now, I get to kind of review and pick and choose stuff myself. I'm gearing my team back up. I just got a new chief of staff about a month ago, but I've been living free since last September. I was just like, you know what? I kind of just want to do me for a moment, and I want to dive into my company. I want to decide what projects I want to work on, just all those different type of things. You know, I see how these celebrities go crazy because I ain't even Mariah Carey or nobody like that yet, and they were starting to drive me crazy. Okay. So when I met Martin, I could have asked him anything in the world, but I was like, hey, brother, tell me how you got your sanity back. And they were like, you did not just ask him that. I'm like, I'm sorry. If I only get one question to Martin Lawrence, this is going to be the question. Okay. So, but yeah, you know, it's a lot to go through. So, but yeah, right now, while I'm in this in between space, I'm loving doing these podcasts.
Well, if you ask me, PR, social media, I am the man. I told Deontay, I'm telling Angel, look, I just graduated with my master's. Okay, so I will be emailing you my resume.
Send me an email.
Give me a rich team, okay? Angel, talk to us about your experience at HU and how that even spawned this who Rich is today.
That's one of
you know, nobody has ever asked me that question before on an interview.
Wow.
And I've been doing interviews for 7 years now.
Jeez.
And nobody has ever asked me that question.
I was gonna ask you an HU-based question, so I'm glad he said it.
It's now I don't even have a pre-canned answer for that. So now I gotta okay.
Think about
Look,
it now.
we brought it here, Angel, okay?
Okay, what would I say is my honest answer? Wow, you caught me off guard with that one. I can only share an experience, I guess, because I haven't really formulated this. When I first went to Hampton, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college.
Wow.
Nice.
It was not intended. My whole life, I was told that I wasn't going to college. I come from a family of entrepreneurs, so my mother didn't see the point in college. Everybody that she knew had went to college, incurred a bunch of debt, and didn't make much money, and she made more money than them not going to college. So she felt like it was a waste of time, and she just wanted to train me in entrepreneurship. But then I had friends at school that started getting back these college acceptance letters, and we had kind of always competed for the highest grades throughout, middle school and high school. And now this was the next phase that they were going on to with their life. And I was like, okay, and they would ask me, and I would stick to what my mama told me, my mama said I'm not going to college, this, that, and the third. So my 12th grade teacher was like, she started to get hold up, wait, where's your letter at? And I was like, I'm not going to school. And she made it an assignment for me to apply to college. I wouldn't have did it otherwise, but she know I wouldn't have missed an assignment.
Right.
So Hampton was the only school I applied to. And
wow.
I did it off of a whim. I didn't even know about the school. I asked my sister, who was younger than me, if she was to go to college, what school would she go to? And because I would want her to go with me. And so even right now, I just realized I stay following my little sister. I live across the street from my sister right now, okay? And so right now, I just realized that but anyway, so I said, what school would you go to? And so she said Hampton. And I said, okay, so I applied to Hampton and I got in. Now, I was very I'm still kind of anti, but professionally, I'm social, but I still would rather just be somewhere reading a book. And when I went there, I said I wasn't going to make no friends. Oh, I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to make no friends. Oh, that was Hollywood too, but okay, I'm going to call him back. So I said I wasn't going to make no friends, and I'm just going to stay to myself and get good grades or whatever, right? And, you know, it ended up turning into a different experience. I ended up meeting my best friend, Courtney, who's the co-founder of my company today. And she was like a professional social butterfly and had been a cheerleader and all of that. So basically what I'm trying to say is I went there a very like herb type of person that wasn't going to do much. And then I figured out a sweet spot because I knew how to cook like a Southern grandmother. And apparently college students were starving and none of these ladies knew how to cook for some strange reason. So I would host dinner parties at my house, and I had my own house, which was also a plus. I had my own house and car in college. And so because I had 2 jobs in college as well. And so anyway, so I would host these parties. I would cook like collard greens and steak and macaroni and cheese and yams and then I would play 3-6 Mafia and Pass the Toy and and I would let people party away. And then I would sit in my very comfortable big chair and study while everybody partied and ate around me. And at the end of the year, I would have straight A pluses and everybody else would be failing. And then I would charge them $100 of paper to write their papers for them. So that was college. College taught me to be a boss, to realize opportunities. You know, I developed this thing, 2 things I think I developed in college. I studied business law, and during that class, every word was important. The teacher would literally make the test. This will happen. This has happened. This won't happen. And you have to know exactly what the literature said. So I had to memorize the entire textbook. That didn't turn me into getting straight A pluses, and I became very disciplined. And then my dean had a saying, if you're not the president, don't put it on your resume. So I was in 10 organizations. So I had to become president or vice president of all of them. Yeah. So I figured out how to juggle managing a bunch of things at the same time. And I was the only student on campus that made money for the school. I made the school $23,000 while I was there as advertising manager. Everybody else had a budget to manage. I made money for the school selling advertisements for the newspaper.
So yes. You had this entrepreneurial spirit. You always had it.
Yeah.
Always had it. Trey, go ahead, man. Ask your question, man.
Okay. First off, hey, you popping, all right? I gotta give you credit. Look, you got it. Jeez. Whew. But couple of things I want to touch up on. Hey, you know, Perrin used to go to he's down here to me. Sorry, Perrin down there. He works at HU. So
that's what's up.
That's why that's so cool. I'm pretty sure he's gonna talk more about it, but that's a part of the museum and stuff. So I just thought I wanted to point that out.
Hey, I used to give tours at a museum for honors college, so I love the museum. It's one of my favorite places on campus. It's beautiful.
It's still standing.
Yeah, I actually think that's what I boiled it down to. I actually boiled down what's special about Hampton is the museum. I think people think it's the church, but it's actually the museum.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what's missing from other schools and HBCUs is the museum.
The museum.
And that's why we're so cultured, because we have a museum. But I could give a whole speech on that.
But yeah, my question originally was kind of based around HU, but I do also want to know, you consider yourself the, new Steve Jobs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to know.
Well, Forbes called her that. Get it
well,
right.
Yeah, Forbes, I try not to correct people in interviews, but
I
mean, Forbes said it first, but hey.
Forbes said it first. you taking that title on, yes? You.
Yeah, so 2 things there. One, when they named me the next Steve Jobs, I had no idea that was going to happen. The morning that I woke up, May 3rd, 2017, I woke up from my phone going off from Facebook chirps. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And I go on Facebook, and this thing has been reposted 101 times on my Facebook page. And I'm like, what the? And I click on it, and it's like the next Steve Jobs, you know, a black woman. The original title said the next Steve Jobs, a black woman only gets funding crumbs. And it had my picture, and I dropped the phone and started running through the house screaming. And it was crazy. It was like, it was bananas. But what was, in a way, God sent about that moment was I did already consider myself the next Steve Jobs. Because growing up, I never felt like I related to anybody. The only person I felt had walked any type of similar path to me was Leonardo da Vinci. And I've went and personally studied him in Rome and everywhere that he's gone. I retraced all of his steps and took pictures of it all. So, but that was hundreds of years ago. So to try to find somebody in modern time, it's like, I can't be that off. And so when I went to see Steve Jobs' movie that came out way before the article, I sat in the movie theater for 30 minutes by myself at the end, just stuck in awe. And I was like, oh my God, this is who I'm like. This is how my brain operates. I am not so, or I'm not at all egotistical to believe that this is the first time a brain pattern like mine have existed on Earth. Mm-hmm. It always comes in ebbs and flows and just shows up in different people and in different ways. So there had to be somebody else like me out there in existence before. It was just a matter of me connecting the dots and being able to correlate who that person was. And so I felt as though within my heart that it's Steve Jobs. I do a lot of stuff like Steve Jobs. I can see the future very clearly. I don't live in the present at all. It's actually a struggle for me to live in the present. I have to be like focused. Like I at one point have counted 26 multiple conversations going on in my head at one time, solving multiple different problems on multiple different continents at one time while I'm trying to focus and have a conversation with somebody. Okay? Yeah. So my brain operates in a very different type of way. And when I envision products like Steve Jobs, I can see it down to the font and to the color. I once fired somebody the day before launch because they decided to program the game in green instead of blue. Who told you to put it in green? This whole job. Like, so I really am like Steve Jobs. You know, I'm not a jerk. I try to work on being nice and emotional intelligence and all that type of stuff. But if you mess my product up, you just might catch that side of me. Okay. So I don't know. So I do. And and you know, some people got mixed feelings about me saying this, but it really confused me when people even had a problem with it. Because I have two viewpoints on that. Number one, would you rather them name another white man the next Steve Jobs?
No.
That's number one. The buck stops here on that one.
Okay.
And then it's like, number two, why wouldn't we want to expand the capacity of who we can be? Nobody had a problem when my whole life they was calling me the next Oprah, or when they was calling me the next Condoleezza Rice. I don't want to be a talk show host. I don't want to be Secretary of State.
Okay.
I want to own one of the top technology companies in the world. That's Steve Jobs. So to tell me that I can only be Oprah, for me, was limiting my whole life. Mm-hmm. Because, and no offense, I was like, at the time, I was like, she only got 1 billion. I want like 50 billion. So you trying to tell me the cap is 1? I think she got like 3 now. And I love Oprah. I'm just saying, I don't think that just because she's the top of our race, that's where we have to limit our viewpoint as to where we can achieve. That's all I'm trying to say.
I was a quote today. I can't remember who said it, but they were talking about limiting yourself and not doing that because you never know the opportunities that could lie beyond, you know?
Absolutely. You know, speaking of Oprah, since you just said that, I'll share a quick story with you. So I was in Hollywood. I was at Hollywood at this thing called the Producers Guild Conference. So I also have a film production company as well, where I do documentaries, TV shows, cartoons. Okay, I keep it very low key. I don't really talk about it a lot.
Yes. Too, you keep a lot of stuff low key. Like, I mean,
people don't realize that. Yeah. People don't realize if you really watch, you must really watch me for real. Because people think that all my business is in the streets, but I'm just making y'all pay attention to the street lights, okay? While I'm over here in the alleys, okay, boo? But
I love it.
Okay. But what was I saying? Okay, I was in Hollywood. I was with one of my friends. She's a film producer. Okay, she lives in Hollywood. And this particular day, we were going to go hear Oprah speak. And I was like, I'm going to meet Oprah today. And she was like, girl, you bugging. Okay, whatever, bye. And so we get later in the day. And I'm like, yeah. She like, what you doing? I was like, yeah, I'm headed to meet Oprah. She was like, she was like, Angel, I hate to burst your bubble, but it's about to be about 10,000 people in that auditorium. And, you know, everybody wants to meet Oprah. And I really don't think you're going to get to meet Oprah today. So I just want you to brace yourself. And I was like, oh, you haven't been formally introduced to me. You have failed to realize who you're friends with.
Okay.
And I said, oh, please believe I will be meeting Oprah today, and she will be taking my book.
Hello.
Okay? So my friend said, okay, this is my one piece of advice to you if you insist on going on this mission. She said, get there early. I said, okay, cool. So roll around, right? The show starts at 3 o'clock. I get there at 1 o'clock. Now, you would think 2 hours is not a lot of time. It's a lesson in this story. You would think 2 hours is not a lot of time. But you're dealing with Hollywood, where everybody is lackadaisical, everybody want to show up 20, 30 minutes late, you know, hour late. So, you know, to be 20 minutes early is something. To be an hour early is a big deal. To be 2 hours early, ain't nobody doing that. So I get there 2 hours early, show nuts. It was only one other person in line out of 10,000 people.
Wow.
To the point where I sat down for an hour and let 3 more people get in line. Okay? So then we get to like an hour. So now we're at an hour mark. Now a couple more. So now about 3 or 5 people, I get back in line. It starts to fill up, you know, about 40-minute mark, 30-minute mark, bam, bam, bam. Now they open the doors. This was one mistake I made. I'm thinking everybody gonna be cordial. Nope. Everybody get to run in like it's a Bloomingdale sale. So I'm like, oh, y'all got me messed up. I'm from DC. And so, so I get to the front. I get to the front row. I'm sitting in the front row. I'm trying to be strategic because I'm the first one to the front row. I'm like, okay, Oprah gonna be sitting right there. Bam. Now this way you gotta be strategic. I don't want to sit in front of Oprah. I want to sit by Oprah's exit. Okay? So I go and I sit by the exit. I sit on the corner of the exit. Now, this is where you also got to be strategic. I happen to have a mutual friend of Oprah. I then took a selfie of me and my seat, what I was wearing, where I was in proportion to Oprah, so that if he was to go ahead and forward that to her, she would know exactly where I was and what I looked like, which is exactly what then happened. So when Oprah came off the stage, first of all, she kept looking over at me while she was on stage. Now, you know how you think the pastor preaching about you. And so I was like, oh, I'm thinking this in my head. And my friend that was with me, she showed up later. I saved her a seat. She was like, why Oprah keep looking at you? I was like, Oprah, don't keep looking at me, right? And I was like, she got the text. And so when she came off the stage, she looked directly at me. She looked at me like, okay, now, girl, what we doing here? And so she came down. It was, of course, people swarmed her. I was like, you know, like a double Dutch match. I was like, I'm going to wait this out, okay? And so I waited for a little space. She didn't talk to nobody else. She came on over to where I was, pushed her security aside, read my soul for about 10 seconds, took my book, and walked out the room holding it in the air. And my friend got all that on video.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's good.
That's so cool.
That's manifestation.
Okay.
Showing up early and manifesting what you want. Don't let nobody ever tell you what you can't accomplish.
Right.
I love it. That
Yeah,
kind of leads to my next question, because we always do like a top 5 when we have our interviews and we interview our guests, right? So I wanted to ask you, what are your top 5 tips to somebody, an entrepreneur trying to get to where you are?
Okay, you want like my for real top 5 tips? Like what kind of top 5 tips?
Top 5.
I would say 1, throw away your wants. You know, to build this company, I once slept on somebody's floor beside a radiator while street people walk back and forth in and out the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to just tell myself, one day you're going to be a millionaire. You know, I have lived in an apartment with rats in it, you know, and all type of stuff like that, where I didn't grow up like that.
Right.
You know, so to achieve making $91,000 a year at age 23 and then go into an apartment that has rats in it where you ain't never even seen a rat, like that's sacrifice. I could have gave up right then and there and went back to being a researcher.
And
So
most
that's number 1. How bad do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you don't want it that bad, stay in your lane.
I hear you.
Because it's going to get extra real. Okay? If you ain't about that life, don't even try it. If you can't, I once lived off of $3 for a week, eating 50-cent Fruities.
Lord.
Okay? I once walked down the street picking up spare change off the ground and asked a crackhead for $1, and he reached in his pocket and gave me a handful of pennies.
Okay.
Good Lord.
I just want y'all to know, like, real. Okay? So that's not real. Then my dog is just so gassy. I don't know what I'm feeding him. I keep trying to mix it up, and it's just like, Lord have mercy.
Yes, I see him wagging his little tail in the back.
It's like, Jesus. Okay, anyway. The next thing I would say is dream ridiculously. I even made that mistake when I first started the company. You know, I was like, oh, we're going to do this game, and, you know, I'm going to give 2 points right here. This is 1 and 2. Focus on your money.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing things out the kindness of my heart, and we originally launched the game for free. We shouldn't have did that. We should have launched it. Well, I'm not gonna say we shouldn't have did that. I would have. That's a weird statement to say, because I wouldn't have done the 200,000 downloads in 10 days if the game was paid, and I wouldn't have all the different accolades if I have. So you have to kind of walk your own individual journey. I should say rather, you need to know when to switch lanes. And I do this thing with traffic where I help traffic out. And before, when I was doing it, I used to forget to switch lanes, and then I would get mad because other lanes started to pass me, and then I would stop helping traffic. And then I was like, no, Angel, you don't need to stop helping traffic. You need to get in the other lane. So and take advantage of the help you just did.
Exactly.
So what I'm trying to say is, if you have to start off on a freemium model and you have to start off at a lesser sort of role, you need to know when to switch over. Don't stay in that slow lane. Okay. You know. So that's number 1. I mean, that's number 2. And then I would say dream as big as possible, because we were like, oh, we're going to do this game and it's going to be with financial services companies, this, that, and the third. I got a new app, and I was like, I want to be able to sell it for $1 or $2 billion. And I was like, if I want to sell it for $1 or $2 billion, that means I need somebody to be able to buy it for $1 or $2 billion. Well, who can buy a credit app at $1 or $2 billion? Well, what's the biggest credit organizations in the country? What would you all say?
What would you say?
I don't know. Prudential, maybe? I don't know.
Like Chase Bank or...
Come on, y'all. I'm going to give y'all one more chance to put y'all thinking cap on.
Look,
oh my goodness, put on the spot. Yeah. So what'd you say? You said Chase.
You
A,
said
a credit organization.
Well, hold on. What
All
How
right,
long
wait,
did you
wait.
tell me?
Are you counting like the like Equifax and all those people? Like Equifax?
Exactly, Deontay. Thank you for coming to play today.
Hey.
That's why I said Deontay, because that's the one that know all about the money in the credit. Okay.
Yes, thank you for playing, sir. You can collect your $200 and pass go. So
Mm.
now, if you break that down even further, there are 3 credit bureaus. What is the top credit bureau? Experian.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
We now have a partnership with Experian.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's how you gotta envision your future. And I didn't even think, I was just dreaming. I was just like, I'm gonna just reach out to Experian. You know, I think we're the first Black people to partner with Experian. They're validating that. But it's funny because Experian said to me, Angel, what you're doing isn't just amazing for a Black person, it's amazing for someone, period.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have to dream bigger than your circle, bigger than your surroundings. I even still have to tell myself that when I found out that Elon Musk, I don't know if y'all know this, that right now Elon Musk has a car that he invented, that he then put on the top of a rocket ship that he invented, launched it into space,
Mm-hmm.
and it's orbiting the Earth right now taking pictures.
No, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm
Yeah.
a Musk fan, but I didn't know that one.
Wow.
Christ. Okay.
Yep. That happened like.
Like you can go on
You'll
Google
see some other
right
stuff on
now
Yeah.
and find out where the Tesla Roadster is on top of the Earth right now.
Talk about dreaming big.
That's how big you gotta dream. Okay. Then I would say number 4 would be to sleep when you can. A lot of people get themselves burnt out and they think they gotta just go. I actually got that advice from a very good CEO. You know, rest when you can because you never know when you're gonna need your energy. And I'm glad that I employ that because I've seen so many people keep going, doing down periods, and then things come out of left field like COVID or like the whole George Floyd thing and you know all type of stuff, and then you then gotta ante up your energy. Well, if you haven't been resting during those down periods and you was forcing yourself to create something that wasn't there, then you just wasted your energy when you could have used it when your opportunity actually came and you would have had space and mind to be able to do that.
Yes.
And then I would say number 5 is to have your end goal in mind. So just like when we're building this new product, we know that we want to get it acquired by Experian. You need to completely map everything out. I can't even sleep right now because I didn't boil down my $2 billion acquisition to 10 banks. So every moment of the day, I'm sitting there, I just made macaroni and cheese and I was like, 10 banks, 10 banks, 10 banks. I'm not even trying to say 1. I'm not even trying to say 3. I just got the number 10 stuck in my head because even when I get those first 1, 2, or 3, I'm not going to pause and celebrate. It's not until I get those 10 banks that I got 10 million coming in monthly to accrue 120 million annual that then gets me to a $2 billion valuation on a 20x ARR. Otherwise, I can't think of nothing else right now.
Period.
Hey, I just want to say, like, all of that in general, like I said, from the low key stuff, from the film stuff, to the higher key stuff of even like the business and stuff like that, and even like I'm friends with you on Facebook, so the inspiration of you like working out and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to work out myself. I saw the progress in you. I want to say congratulations on that. You're really killing it right now, man. So I just want to say in a lot of different ways, like you really inspire me. So I appreciate this.
Thank you. You know, one of the kind of cool things about growing up a heavy-set nerd is you spend a lot of time by yourself.
Big facts.
You get to study and read a lot of things, you know, and people be like, how do you know all this? Well, while you was at all those parties learning how to drink, I was reading books. Like, I know it might be hard for you to comprehend, but everybody didn't just play outside all day. And so I try to kind of sprinkle out all these different experiences that I've had because I've really had been very intentional since I was a young age. You know, I've known how I wanted to build my life since I was a child.
I love it. My last question, Angel, before you get out of here, I want to talk about, or I want you to talk about your partnership with MIT and hack racism.
Yes, so I'm really excited about that partnership. I'm very proud of MIT for reaching out and connecting with Black Tech Matters to take on such an audacious subject like racism, where, you know, being brainiacs that they are, they kind of came together and said, let's apply some technology to this.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get a bunch of smart people in a room and have intelligent conversations and see if we can come up with some technology solutions, some community programs, as well as some policy. So right now we are in the recruitment stage of companies. MIT is paying for everything. But of course, the more the merrier to be able to bring on schools, particularly HBCUs, and Black alumni organizations at PWIs, and just everyone in general, because I very much believe in financial agriculture and people coming together. So we're looking for students as well as alumni to sign up as teams to participate in groups of 3 to 5 with their particular solution, as well as we're looking for mentors and judges to come on board as faculty from different companies and universities to advise these different teams. It's going down the last week of September, September 25th through the 27th. We're having a couple of listening sessions beforehand, and then we're going to have some afterwards as well to actually come up with policy. And then from there, we'll actually meet on a quarterly basis to see the progress of how things are being implemented. And this is something we will continue to do on an annual basis.
I love it. Is that way, or is it still, the process is still moving forward?
I'm sorry, what was the beginning of that?
Did COVID impact it in any way, or is it still moving forward?
You know, God works in mysterious ways, and COVID is actually what led to it.
Wow.
And the reason being is because MIT has a history of doing hackathons. Across these top Ivy League schools, they've been doing hackathons for like 10 years. Yeah. We are new to them as HBCUs, you know, which is, I could get off on a whole nother conversation with that. And so basically, because of COVID, MIT had to switch to doing a virtual hackathon, and they ended up focusing on COVID. So they sort of had this whole like team of people already organized to do a virtual hackathon. And actually, racism disrupted COVID. And
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So it actually was the other way around. And it was kind of like, hold up, I think we need to focus over here. And so they kind of put the word out to all the COVID people, asked them what they wanted to do, and to kind of tie it together, one of the main focuses is healthcare. So pretty much a lot of the things that we're focused on from the racism perspective kind of in a way relates back to your health and your well-being and things like that. And so because a lot of the people literally came from the health side of MIT, directly from the COVID initiative. So interesting question.
Thank you. I got it for days now. Come on, look. I'm doing what? I'm auditioning for you right now, okay?
All right.
I love it. Guys, before Angel goes, so she can take care of her dog, so he can stop having gas.
You see me struggling.
Do y'all have any more questions?
I mean, I did want to know, like, what is what is leisure time for you? You know what I mean? Because you work.
This is actually leisure.
you on the go. You know what I mean? So I was curious, like, what is leisure time? Because I mean, we all work, we all doing things all the time, but you on it.
Yeah, it might sound funny, but probably 60% of my leisure is still some type of work activity. But because I enjoy doing it, I consider it leisure. So, right now I'm, y'all not paying me So this is leisure, you know. I'm doing it. I'm really doing it to help y'all for real, you know, as well as promote hack racism. Also does not pay me. That is a whole initiative that was born out of leisure for me to be able to help the Black tech community. So I really do spend, I guess I sound like a super nerd now, but I really do spend a lot of my leisure time kind of trying to figure out how to help other people and coming up with different initiatives and stuff like that. Also super nerdish. I write other books during my leisure time, you know? So my new book, I'll show y'all real quick. Another business fell off while I was picking up the book. So this is Black Woman Politics. I wrote this and
blurring out because of your face. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
I wrote this and published it last year because I knew that Kamala was going to be VP. So the book goes from, I called it last year and already published it. Did a photo shoot and everything. So,
all right.
You killing it, right?
I'm from Generation Capitol Hill. You can't tell me who's about to be in office next. Like, I knew last year. So basically, I went from Sojourner Truth to Kamala Harris with every important speech on Capitol Hill by a Black woman, because I wanted to understand the similarities in the stories and how Black women have actually helped impact the policy of America. And we actually have quite a few times, more than I even realized. Another company Deontay might be familiar with is my skincare line, Angel Skin. I created this because I broke my back last year, and I wanted a way to be able to heal myself. So I came up with the solution, ended up turning it into a face mask and putting it all over my body, and it actually heals your whole body. So instantly cures athlete feet in one try and all type of stuff. So I'm working on getting a patent with that and doing some FDA clinical trials. So these are my hobbies.
I know they say Steve Jobs, but the more and more you talk, I'm like, nah, you like the next Tony Stark. Like, forget Steve Jobs.
That's why I love Leonardo da Vinci. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't make me show y'all a painting. And so it's like,
you got an original painting. You know how crazy that'd be.
No, I mean a painting that I did.
Yeah, right? No, I feel you. That'd be crazy.
So it's like, that's why I really do even more so feel Leonardo da Vinci than Steve Jobs, because, oh my Lord, like, you read about him in books, but I've personally studied him in Rome, in his museum that he created, you know, and this man invented the scuba diving suit years ago. And it's like this whole metal contraption with a little pipe coming out of it that leads to like a makeshift oxygen tank. Like, to invent that hundreds of years ago, they still trying to figure out scuba diving suits. You know, he invented the bicycle. It pretty much almost looks like the one we use today. All type of stuff I could go into right now. It was so overwhelming. I literally had to take pictures of every inch of the museum, of every single artifact and of every single description. I spent like 8 hours there just doing that, because I want to one day take a month or two and go to a cabin somewhere and just study the different inventions that he did, because to have a mind so vast like that, to go from different machinery to sculpture to paintings to mathematically figure out the sequences of your body and how we even have symmetry right now and how many spaces. It's so much I could go into. Each part of your body and your face is a mathematical connection and different flower points, all type of stuff this man figured out. Right. How did you come up with all that in one lifetime? It's like, my God. So I studied him as a young child. I don't know who. I was about to say, who gave me that book? I read the whole children's library as a child, which is the size of a normal library. I wanted to be Matilda when I was younger, so I used to read 22 books a week. So I came across Leonardo da Vinci, and that's how I started. I just figured that out for the first time. That's how I even got into wanting to do all of this stuff.
See, there you go. There you go.
Breaking news right here on the Friday podcast.
I thought Donald Glover was killing it, but man, you you got it.
Yeah, who?
Yeah.
Angel, man, we thank you so much. This has been so enlightening, so inspiring for us. And I think, look, we're going to take all the nuggets you were dropping and we're just going to use them to grow our platform as well. So we thank you so, so much.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Shout out to the Friday podcast. And thank you for having Angel Rich, a.k.a. the next Steve Jobs.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Yes, Angel, we thank you. And we are out. We love you, man. And sending love from the Friday podcast. And we are just going to keep catching up with you, following you, and just seeing the next thing that you're going to do.
Yes.
Sounds great. Yes, everybody can follow me at AngelRich27 on Instagram, and be sure to get History of the Black Dollar on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And most importantly, download Credit Stacker on Google Play and iOS in 60 countries. Have a blessed day, everybody.
Thank you, Angel. Peace.
Thank you.
That was cool, guys.